Hello everyone, and we have yet another topper with us, Dr. Ankitesh Kumar, and he's done very well in the NEETPG 2019. He secured a rank of 112. Heartiest congratulations, Ankitesh.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you so much.
Yes, this is a great achievement among 1.5 lakh candidates. So you've done really, really well. How do you feel about it?
Ma'am, I'm ecstatic. Like it's way beyond what I thought I would get. But I guess it helps when you go with you're minimizing your expectations and all. And I'm very thankful to Dams ma'am. It's been 3 years and there's been constant support, there's been constant motivation, and like Dams notes and all have covered everything from basics to the more advanced stuff. They've helped me from every exam. I don't think there is, from even in profs and cent-ups, I don't think there is anything which comes out of those notes. So thank you so much. And ma'am, you and sir have been available to us 24/7. Any doubts, any queries, I would never have thought that people like you must be very busy, but you've given us so much time, and thank you so much for that, ma'am.
No, it's our pleasure, and it's really a pleasure, and it's a reward for us when the students do well, right? And I'm sure, Ankitesh, you are making it seem very easy, but I'm sure a lot of hard work has gone into it.
Yes, ma'am.
And like you've said yourself, that you've been, you've been trying to do this for past 3 years. You joined us right from the foundation as well, and you've done it with your internships, which is an amazing feat.
Thank you, ma'am.
So, your juniors and other students would really want to know that when you want to do it in the first attempt, and that too with an amazing rank, right? What kind of an effort goes into it, right?
The most basic thing which you can do is just be regular. If you're attending classes, please don't miss classes.
Okay.
And even I know it takes a lot of effort. There have been weekends when I've had to push myself to wake up and come to the class after attending college for the whole week.
Yeah.
But at the end, it's worth it. If you sacrifice a few weekends, you have to achieve something, you have to sacrifice. And in final year also, when you're doing internships, especially in MAMC as I've done, it's very hectic.
Yes, it is.
You have to do, I have come for TNDs after doing night duties and 24-hour duties, but you have to put in some effort. Even if you don't get much time, like if you're doing medicine internship and all, if you're just regular with your TNDs, that is more than enough, because in class, you can learn a lot of stuff which you won't do if you're home. And if you think that I can cover it on my own with the regular notes and all, it's not enough. You get updates which you should be attending, and you should have updated knowledge, especially in nowadays. Even NEET asks questions which are recent and all.
Yes. And I think when you actually plan to sit by yourself and study, it does become difficult, because you might start well, but then there is a dip. So do you think that coming to a class and being there and getting the biofeedbacks from the teachers and seeing the students around does help you to sort of stay motivated for your goal? Surely
does, ma'am, because when I don't know if it goes for everyone or not, but I prefer going for classes and studying there rather than, because to study on your own requires a lot of motivation.
That's true.
And I understand that some people might prefer studying on their own, but to each their own. But I prefer going to classes and being regular. And if you're there, you should listen. It's better if you're there and you're giving your time, you should utilize it properly, and you should listen when you're there. I totally
agree on it, because you have to be mentally present more than being physically present. And I think that does make a difference on the kind of notes also you make and the kind of understanding you develop for the subject.
And ma'am, when you're there, you write little things, like if everyone writes different things. You might get a doubt, you might put a question mark, or or there's a statement like you interpret it on your own. So for later purposes, you might forget that, but if you've written the interpretation down, it's better.
That's true.
And it's always good to have your own notes. If you think that I won't write anything here, I'll go home and copy someone's notes. That generally doesn't work, because it's better if you write your own notes, you get to know what you've written. If you've made some mistake or anything, it's better that way.
Right. And also, Ankitesh, I would want to hear your view on it, because the current pattern of the exam is that if you agree with me or not, that you will tell me that were there any questions that were out of Dam's notes or something that you haven't really done?
No, ma'am. That's what I said before, ma'am. In that if the Dam's notes are so comprehensive, that I don't think if there is any possibility left of any questions coming out of that.
Right. So now I was going to say that when the question is, you've done it, what makes a difference is how you interpret the options. Yes. And and in the current pattern of the exams, when they're not changing or not sort of repeating the questions, they just change options and things change. So how important is it to make concepts clear so that even if the options are close, you can rule them out?
I would say that the 80% of the exam is just your basic concepts, because it's very difficult. You've seen the question before. That is almost, nowadays, that is almost impossible.
Yeah.
They very rarely give you questions which you've seen before.
Absolutely.
So you just need to know what the basic concept is, and you can rule half the options out. Even if it is a question which you have never even heard of before, you can eliminate half the choices. Yes. And since even if you eliminate 2 choices, there's a very good 50% chance that you'll be right.
Right.
So since then you can take a risk and do that.
Right. Okay, and since you're doing it with TND, and there would be a lot of people who would want to know the strategy, although you've said that you should attend the paper, and now I would know what did you do a week before the test when you know that this test is coming up, and what do you do immediately after the test? Do you do an assessment of the test? Do you make your little notes on what topics you were weak in, or what were the things that you did wrong in the test?
Yeah, ma'am, I'll be very honest here. I would try and complete the course for that, the things which were coming in that TND.
Okay.
I would try my very best. If I had time, like in medicine and all, there wasn't enough time.
Yes.
So I would try and get complete that course, and even if I missed out, I would note it down, the things which I hadn't done in that week, and I would plan it that I'll do it here, and I would adjust them in somewhere else. Like if there's a light subject TND,
right?
Like if there's a dermatology TND, I won't need a week, so I can adjust it that week.
And I think that's a very, very good advice, because not just for adjustment, I think for revision of something that you've done beforehand as well. Because there are 19 subjects, you do tend to forget. A lot of information is there, and you can use that week or a few hours or days in the week to revise something that you've done previously, and you feel that you have forgotten. So I think that's a very good utilization of time, and a strategy on how you can sort of plan things if you have time constrained. Right? And what would you do post-test?
At the bare minimum, I would at least revise all the questions that were given and all the mistakes I had made, because you learn more from the questions you got wrong. In TND, even if you're getting 80%, 50, 60, 70% questions wrong, that's good. The more the better, because then you learn. Even if you get it right, I've seen people they won't check the answers they got right.
Yeah.
Because it's a very human thing to do. If you're right, you know that you're right.
So you don't tend to go into the other details which could probably be asked as well.
Yes, ma'am. So if you get something wrong, you'll revise the entire concept again.
I quite like the idea of what he said, because not many people will tell you that doing wrong is also okay, and this is what I say, that you have to see the positive aspect of everything, right? And he said it very, very nicely. The more wrong you do, the more likely you are to note it down for yourself, and more stress on that part, and it will ensure that you work it up later.
And you don't get it wrong when it really matters.
That's true.
I've seen people they're very sad that I didn't get this rank at TND and all, but you can't do that.
Yeah.
It's mainly for revision. It's mainly for your sake, so that you don't repeat those mistakes, and you can go into details of the things you get wrong.
Right.
So you'll revise the entire concept from the beginning. It helps out a lot.
Wonderful. So it was not just, I think he's put a lot of work mentally as well onto planning on how you want to do it, which is, I think, very, very important. Also, Ankitesh, can you tell me, once you finished with the TND course, how did you plan your revisions?
Ma'am, I tried to do it in 2 phases. I planned I'll do it once very well till AIMS, November 18th. And then again I'll do it post AIMS. So till AIMS I did it as if I was doing it for the first time. I did it thoroughly, and then after that I included the DVT. Till AIMS also I included the DVT also, which is DVT 3 days. It is undescribable. The 3 days you get to revise everything, literally everything, from the minute points to the basic concepts. Everything is revised.
Especially of things that are very, very likely to be asked.
and it gives you a general idea
and
on
this
what
time
topics to
I
focus.
believe you did got similar visuals in
Yes,
the
ma'am,
NEET
yes, ma'am.
exam from the DVT as
And
well.
that's the thing, ma'am. Nowadays, in NEET also and AIMS also, there are a lot of image-based questions.
That's right.
And you have to revise images. So it helped
Yes.
out a lot. Those 3 days were invaluable, and because you get to know what areas you need to concentrate on for the exam, because it's not possible to do everything.
That's
you have
true.
to be very selective in the things to do, and you have to be very clear in your mind that I have to do these things. Whatever other people might tell you that you don't know this or you don't know that doesn't matter. It's all up to you. You have to be mentally clear that I have to do these things and I will do these things.
So, if I am getting it correct, Ankitesh, from your first reading, which you said was very thorough, to your second reading, you became a little more selective.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes?
And I focused on the things which I realized I did not know, like which weren't my strong subjects and strong topics.
Right.
And I tried revising normal subjects also, but I gave them lesser time.
Importance, okay. And did you make a list of such kind of subtopics that are volatile for
Yes.
you?
I made a subject-wise list.
Okay, that's
So
very amazing.
And I focused on them in November, December after AIMS, because I
Yes.
got to know when I gave AIMS also, like these things are I'm not getting them right, or I'm not understanding them properly.
Right.
So for some topics I had to pick up the textbook again also,
Okay.
to get my basic concepts clear.
Okay.
But then it helps out a lot at the end.
Wonderful. So as long as you're working on your weak zones, so that's what he's trying to stress, because it's a defense mechanism that we would keep doing what we like doing or what we are good at, and we would not really focus on our weak areas. And the thing is that if you don't work on the weak zones, you don't push your scores
Yes,
up.
ma'am.
Right. And now coming to the importance of, so these were subject tests. So, you prepare and give a test, but what do you think is the importance of giving grand test, which is a mixture of 300 questions, and you will have all subjects put together and you have to sit for 3 hours and give the test?
Ma'am, the main thing is those 3 hours, because mentally, generally you're not ready for that, for a concentration span of that much time.
Right.
So they help you get into a rhythm for the exam. And you're not nervous because you've given so many tests. It's just another test for you.
Right.
So it
I
helps
think
out
that
a lot.
mind frame is very important, because otherwise the stress takes you
Yes,
on.
ma'am.
Right.
And people study for a week, and like you might get very good ranks in T&D, but you won't actually know where you stand until and unless you give a grand test which includes all the subjects put together.
So I think that's a very important point for anybody who's doing a TNT, that if you're doing well, don't take it for granted. Definitely attempt the grand test and see how you're performing when it's a mixture and it's a full bag, right? So that you pick up your weak zones.
Yes, ma'am.
And for that matter, we could also include CBT, and maybe you can tell us how your experience with the CBT was. So do you think that we matched what was required in the NEET exam?
Yes, ma'am. I gave when I gave the CBT, it was a very new experience for me, because you had to go out and then give it. So
Yes.
it was the first time I had given an online exam by going out.
Okay.
So it was the questions which came, the thing is ki they really forced you to use your basics and derive the answers.
Yeah.
So that's very essential when you're giving the central exams, and even NEET nowadays it's not that much factual as it
Yes,
used
the
to be.
clinical part, especially,
ma'am.
I believe, did had questions which
Yes, ma'am.
were indirect and not really simply values or
Clinical
this thing.
scenarios and all, they help you to, when you're attempting a question, you need to know what are the things you need to focus on,
Right.
and to get an answer. So it helps. And the rank in CBT, it helps you understand where you stand amongst a lot of people, which is very essential, because it's okay even if you don't get a good rank, at least you'll know that how much hard I have to work
Right,
in the
and you
next few
still
days.
have good 1.5 months
Yes,
after
ma'am.
that to sort of buck up and do well.
It should not be disheartening. It's for that purpose only. So you know where you stand, and you know how much more work you have to put in before the main exam, before the thing that matters.
Great. And now, since we have talked about revisions, I go to the exam strategy. So something maybe that you can guide to your juniors about exam strategy, something that you feel is a must for NEETPG.
For NEETPG, I've heard people say that you need to study hours and hours, and all I would say is you need to give quality time. And don't, even if you're giving 2, 3, 4 hours a day, it should be quality time. You have to be there, mentally there. For those 4 hours, you can't
And
be
I
distracted.
think it has to be things which are high yielding.
Yes, ma'am. And you have to prioritize The most important thing is to prioritize. You need to know, like people get carried away, they'll start doing medicine for a long time, but
That's
it's
true.
only 25 questions. So you have to focus on that. You first need to know what is the weightage of each subject.
And that is very important, because I think NEET has actually stuck to the weightage that they said. They haven't really,
they don't change.
Yes, it was not a skewed paper. It is exactly the way they described it in their prospectus.
And you have to give time to subjects which you think you're not good at, or things there might be subjects you don't find interesting, but tough luck, you have to do them because they'll ask you at the end. At least for now, you have to do them. To get a subject you want, you have to first go through these also. But it's okay. You have to study, and when you do, you have to put in a lot of effort. You have to make sacrifices, but that's understandable. This time which you put in will get rewarded at the end. So that's all that matters.
Wonderful. And now, Ankitesh, because a lot of your juniors will be looking up to you and they want to replicate your rank, right? I want you to tell them two things. One, something motivational, and two, just in few words, the key the key ingredients to get a good rank in NEETPG.
Motivation, what I would say is that everybody is on an equal footing in this exam. You're not behind anyone. Your college marks, nothing matters.
Right.
At the end, only those 3.5 hours matter. People will say 100,000 things to you, but all you need to know is you should be clear in your mind. And first of all, you need to think that you are good enough. If you don't think that you are good enough, you'll never be good enough.
Right.
So you have to be mentally, it's not ego, it's not grandeur, it's just practicality.
It's positivity.
Yes, you have to be positive. You can't be negative. You can't think ki nahi hoga.
True. Absolutely. You cannot compare positivity to ego. No, we all have to be positive. There are tough times, there are tough phases, but as they say, tough men also last.
Yes,
right?
And there's a difference between confidence and overconfidence, but you have to be confident, and you can't be negative. You can't get disheartened about little things, and don't listen to what people say. You have to be mentally prepared. You can ask ma'am, sir, they're there to guide you 24/7, and I think the advice is invaluable. It can't be described, I'm telling you. And you can ask any DAMS faculty, they're there 24 hours. They never say no to anything. So please do. And what was the second one?
And the key ingredients for
the key ingredients are prioritizing the things you have to study. Hard work, obviously, and concentration and patience. Patience is a huge thing. You have to be very patient you might not get things at the first time, but you have to be persistent and patient with stuff.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Ankitesh. It was a pleasure having you around. And once again, we would like to congratulate you on your performance on behalf of the entire DAMS team. And we wish you a very bright future ahead. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, ma'am.